expert. And this is our weekly, probateweekly.com. We do it every Thursday, 4 p.m. Pacific time, 7 p.m. Eastern time, and then all the other adjustments. You can do the math if you need to, or Google that. We talk about all things probate real estate. We have investors, wholesalers, real estate agents, attorneys, paralegals, vendors come in. And the idea is that by working together, and I founded this really, that by working together, we can all help each other be more successful, referring business, discussing best business practices, and helping us leverage our successes statewide, regionally, and nationally, which I've been able to do as well. Oftentimes we have a guest. I try to get a guest every week. Herding attorneys on a call, as you can imagine, sometimes can be difficult today. Unfortunately, I had a great attorney from Kentucky, but she had to last minute cancel. We'll have her on in the future. She's on my YouTube channel. I interviewed her, but we'll have her reschedule. So we won't have a guest this week. This week I did prepare, though, based on where we are in the marketplace, some material I'd like to discuss with you guys on how to respond to the market today, what to do if you're in business with the rates going up and the potential changes in the market. Where does that leave you as a probate-focused real estate agent or investor wholesaler? Where does that leave you, and what should you do in order to take advantage of it? Before I get started, just a couple of free resources. Everybody here on this call is welcome to join in Facebook. We have a Facebook group called Probate Experts. We have about 800 people there, and a lot of the same people on this call. But what's nice is, I have to tell you, seems to me there's a couple leads a week now coming on, either petitioners with questions in different states and different counties, or realtors or attorneys looking for the opposite in different parts of the country. My vision is to be the preeminent destination, location, community for professionals across the country, where those of us who are good will get referrals, and those of us who are good will also have referrals to give out to other people. So feel free to check that out. That's in the Facebook group. It's Probate Experts. We have about 800 members and climbing. It's growing real quickly. And so that's one free resource. Second free resource, now this is free. And here I'm really looking more to do interviews almost every week, or present some content. And this is more for actual practitioners who are already in the business and off and running. On Tuesdays, there's the coaching program that I started this with, which is Probate Mastery, probatemastery.com. Is a coach I started with back when he was with another company. And we have an alumni group call every Tuesday at noon Pacific, 3 p.m. Eastern. It's also recorded on their website and on their YouTube channel, probatemastery.com. But it's another free resource. So if you're starting off, or you're looking to build your business, or like me, you're active in this, and this is your niche, but you want to get all the information you can, meet all the vendors you can, squeeze every bit of the orange that's possible for you, I would say those are two great free resources that you can use to help you build your business, add to the network. As always, though, I will say, like everything in business, the more you give, the more you get. The more time you put into something, the more effort you put in helping other people, the more successful that you're going to be in the long run. And that's true in this call as well. This is designed to be interactive. My vision of this, when we started this about 2 years ago, when COVID started, was to be a place where those of us who are in business, again, whether investor, wholesaler, retailer, vendor, have questions, we can work together, help each other, meet each other, get to know each other. So we give referrals. We're not just giving a name and a number of somebody, but someone we've interacted with. And so what I'll tell you is, the more you participate and give to other people, the more you get. That's just the way life works. My first coach in my business life was Zig Ziglar, and he taught me that you can have anything you want in life if you help enough other people get what they want. So I encourage you to participate here. If you have questions and you're on the Zoom app, there's a reactions button and a raise your hand. Feel free to raise your hand if you have a question, or in the chat box, put in a question. You can start with a question, the word question or Q. That'll make sure I catch it so it doesn't just go on by. If you're watching the live stream, we live stream this on YouTube and Facebook as well. If you put questions there, I think I'll be able to catch them because I'm monitoring that as well. I'll do it by myself. So feel free to ask questions and interact and make it as interactive as possible. And so I'll say to you is, those who interact the most and give the most will get the most. If you're on this call today because you want to make more income, or because you want to build your wealth through probate real estate, say aye, or raise your hand, or put yes in the chat box. If that's why you're here today. If you're here because you want to make more money, you want to learn how to make more money, or you want to build your wealth, maybe by accumulating property, let me know. Make sure I know you're in the right spot. Okay? And just so I have a sense of who the audience is today, if you would put in, if you're a real estate agent, put real estate. If you're an investor or a wholesaler, put investor or wholesaler. If you're a vendor to the business, a lender or escrow title, put in vendor. That way we can at least know who you are. And I'll make sure that I'm speaking to the right people. It looks like most people here are realtors by far. Interesting. So I would have thought about half. It's interesting on other calls, about half are investor wholesalers, but it looks to me like there's one investor and agent. Well, I will tell any real estate agent, you should be both. But what's your primary? I'm primarily a real estate broker. I work all day. My business is as a real estate broker, and then I'm taking my money and put it to work so that when I go to bed at night, my money's still working for me as an investor. So I think probate gives you a unique opportunity to do that. So it looks like I want to say most realtors. Now, I'll also give you one last opportunity here. In addition to the probate expert group, you can go and you can post your information and solicit referrals or promote programs that you're involved with. I'm sorry, there's one person I'll have to mute you. In addition to putting yourself there, feel free here. Auctioneer, I'd love to talk to you. Matt Price, auctioneer. I reached out to an auctioneer this week and I couldn't get anywhere with it. Matt, I don't know if there's a way you and I can hook up afterwards, but I'd love to exchange information and talk to you. But feel free to put your information in the chat box, your name, your address, your phone number, what you're doing, what you're looking for, your websites, if you're a program you're promoting. That's what this is for us to work together and all make some more money. So if you're on board with that, say aye. So I want to talk about today, again, originally had an attorney, but I think that's a good chance to make sure that we are all paying attention to the changes in the real estate industry. I think that we're lucky, those of us in real estate, to notice there's a transition, because I feel in some regards, we're the canary in the mine. I don't believe necessarily that it should affect our income, but it will if you don't prepare for it. And I've been in this business since 1986, longer than some of you have been alive. So I've seen a few of these. And one thing I've learned is, just like in sports, in basketball or soccer, when you're going down court and you lose the ball, you go the other way, you got to turn on a dime and get back in the other direction right away. It's called transition basketball or transition soccer or football. I've learned in real estate that when these transitions happen, it may not seem like a huge wave right away, but it's going to be a huge wave. And what I'm going to tell you is that the interest rates are today at 6%, 6.03 at the close today. They were just a few months ago, 3.5. Even though it might not affect your pocketbook today, maybe you had a couple closings, you're able to get them closed. Maybe you had a couple listings that were, all clear and you're getting paid on them. Maybe as an investor, you sold some property. That's great. But how about your new sales? And what I tell you is that the business is going to get a lot harder. Now, I'm not saying that's bad. I'm going to say to you, number one, this is the best time ever to build your business. I say this all the time because it's true, but it's even more so now than ever. Because when the transition happens, whatever was working isn't going to work. And what's going to work is something new. And that new can be you. It can be you in a new direction. It can be you with a new focus and tactics and effort. But it's an amazing opportunity. So many real estate agents saw other agents dominate the market with, let's say, paid advertising for buyers relocating their market. That business is going to get 10 times more difficult. But let me ask you this, just real quick. Are people still going to die, yes or no? What do you think? Put in the chat box. Yes or no? Will people still die between now and the next year? Do you think some of those people who pass, and my heart goes out for that, having lost both my parents and my wife's parents, I don't mean to be reckless about it, but will most of those people who pass have real estate that they don't need? Or another way to say is, those that file probate will have real estate with houses they don't need? And so this opportunity will continue to grow regardless of the market. What you're going to find is a lot of people are going to turn to that and say, oh, here's a new easy way to make money. Probate real estate. I'm going to tell you, it's not going to be easy. But if you're tough on yourself, it will be a whole lot better for you and a whole lot easier for you. So I want to say, number one, it's a great time to start. If you've ever watched a marathon, now if you know me, you can see I'm a little overweight. I've never run a marathon. I've biked a marathon, and I was on a team that helped a marathon runner, but I've never run a marathon. I've run 10K races, the most I did when I was young. But if you ever watched like the Olympic marathon, anybody besides me ever seen the Olympic marathon? you notice like at mile 20, there's always like a big hill. And the guy or gal who wins is the one who's racing up the hill, passing all the people struggling at the 20-minute mark, most commonly. Because when it gets tough, those who are committed to victories, that's the time to push and double down. So I'm going to tell you that for the last few years, I've listened to and seen a lot of people come in and want to dabble in this business and say, well, I want to get started, but I don't want to talk to a lot of people. I don't want to call a lot of people. And I'm going to say to you, this is the market. This is not the time to be a dabbler. This is the time to be the dominator. This is the time to be the best. This is the time to be the expert. And if you can, and really the expert is no more than knowing a little more than the person behind you. This is the time, though, to be that expert. There's a great movie with Leonardo DiCaprio, Catch Me If You Can. And in the scene where he's basically, I think, high school age or a little older, and he passed himself off as a substitute teacher in high school, with kids basically his age or maybe a year or two behind him. And I saw the real man who did this interviewed, and he said, how did you pass yourself off in high school as a teacher? You were the same age as them, basically. And he said, all I had to do was read one chapter ahead of them, and they thought I was the expert. And so I'll tell you is that when I say to you, be the expert in probate, and I know you're here to learn, and I appreciate that, but expertise is not me giving you magic pixie dust or selling you a box. It's a commitment to a process to know more than anybody else in your market area. It's a commitment to learning the material and looking at the learning you do as new tools in your toolbox so that when they're time to be deployed, you're ready to use them. And so I want to encourage you to make that commitment. This is a time, though, for commitment. This is not a time to be a dabbler. This is not a time to be kind of part-time in, part-time out. And I've had brand new licensees call me. They'll say, well, yeah, I'm working full-time at this. I want to do it part-time. Nothing wrong with it, but you're going to invest money in being part-time. And in my neighborhood, MLS and board dues are $1,000 a year, plus your license, a couple $100, plus companies charge you. It's a lot of money for part-time. You better sell something to make that make sense. Otherwise, it's an expensive hobby. Those of us who are agents who are not happy with our results right now, we're going to have to get serious about this because it's not going to get easier. But I'm going to tell you, if you can make that commitment in the next 6 months, next 90 days, you'll see a change to where the business will be easier for you than your competition, than your colleagues. This is the time to do that. So I'm going to say, number one, it's the best time to start, but commit, get in all the way if you can. And the more you get in, the luckier you're going to get. Number two, I would say cut all unnecessary expenses. Review everything. I review my business plan every 90 days. I'm going to do it here at the end of June, the 1st of July. But one of the things I've learned in transition periods is we sign up for things that we think we need and we stop using and we forget about it. Make sure you're aware of everything you spend money on. One of the tricks I used to do is I just changed my business credit card. Just changed from Chase to Wells Fargo to B of A, and just canceled everything. And that was just a way to figure out whatever I didn't need popped up. But money right now is your runway. If you're trying to build your business because you have to, right? If you're not making it financially and you're trying to go to probate to help you get there, which I'm all for helping you do that, cash is going to give you the time to get off the runway and launch your business. And so you have to make sure you only spend money on things that give you a rate of return, an ROI for your investment. Without an ROI, you can't spend any money right now in a transition market. Because there's too many people now who are desperate. I literally had a guy last week. He was down to his last $10,000. Asked me, well, where should I invest my last $10,000? I said, you better hold on to that. Because if you're not making money every month, at some point, you're going to run out. If you live on $2,000 a month, you're only going to last 5 months until you get some more commissions. Because 5 months in a day, you're out of the business, and those people end up getting a job driving Ubers. I'll share with you a quick story. I was there's one real estate event I go to, it's not mine, every month. It's in Los Angeles, the LA Real Estate Investment Club. They get 250 people in the room. It's a great event, great speakers, 50 vendors, once a month. I love it. I go every month. It's about 10 minutes from my house. So I treat myself because parking is so crowded there. And if I park and walk, it's kind of a dangerous area and I'm a little older. So I treat myself to an Uber. And so one day I'm getting the Uber and there's like the regular Uber is $10, but for $13, I get an Uber Black and it's a nicer car and it's a faster pickup. So I spend the extra $3. What the heck? So the guy who drives me, I say, I always chat up the Uber driver and I say, like, what do you do besides drive? He says, I'm a real estate agent. Oh, really? Where are you? He tells me the company. It's the old Keller Williams office I used to work in. Interesting. I said, are you going to the real estate event? Now I'm thinking, here's a smart guy. I'm paying him to drive. He's going to park his car, get paid by me, and go to the event. He says, no, I'm not going to that event. I'm going to another one tomorrow down by LAX, which means he's going to pay for parking $20. And it's only $49. I mean, he's paying $49. The one I go to is free. I said, dude, this thing is free. You're already dropping me off. Why don't you just park your car and come in? But in his mind, he was spending money that he doesn't have. He's the one driving the Uber. I'm the one paying the Uber black. You see how that math doesn't make sense? But in his mind, he was making decisions and making his own business decisions rather than paying attention. This is a time to cut all costs to the bone. And that if you have extra money, I have more liquid cash I've ever had in my life. I've had more passive income in than I ever had in my life. I've done really well the last few years. But my cash right now is like a weapon. And I don't just need bullets and guns. I now have a fighter plane weapon for my business. I'm going to make some investments. I'm going to buy some property on the cheap. So I'm not cutting my cash because I'm not going to pay my bills. I'm cutting my cash expenditures because money is going to become very valuable. And again, I don't predict the housing prices are going to drop necessarily, but there'll be people who have a deal tied up who can't close. And I'll be able to step in and buy it on the cheap with good terms. So I'm going to urge you all to take a look at that opportunity, but cut your costs and expenses and save your money. Number 3, and this is the next part that really affects us as agents. You want to marshal all your assets. You want to take an inventory of what you have that's working for you, what's not working for you, and you want to leverage what you have that's working for you. So what do I mean? I just met in the course of my probate business today, I talked to an attorney's office. Instead of the attorney, the assistant called me. Turns out she's a real estate agent part-time, and we're working on this deal together. And I realized I hung up the phone, I should invite her to become a realtor on my team full-time, because she really knows probate. And by the way, she knows a couple of attorneys, the ones in her office. The number one probate attorney in LA, to my knowledge, was a paralegal. And she started off getting the business from the attorneys that she had worked with. So what are your assets? One is your immediate asset, maybe your wife's business or your business. But another asset, and this is one, all of you who are real estate agents, when I say this, you're all going to go, he's not really talking about that again, is he? Is your database. It's your database. Everybody you already know that knows you, likes you, trusts you, because I'm going to tell you, getting to strangers is going to be more difficult than ever. There are going to be more people looking to spend money to get to people's attention than ever, both free and paid. But the people that already know, like, and trust you, and that you know, like, and trust, if you're not utilizing them, they're an unused asset. If you leverage them, then they can become a business for you. There's a fantastic video done by a company called Viral Marketing that for free will give you more than anybody's going to sell you. I'm going to put it in the chat box. It's on YouTube. Viral spelled V-Y-R-A-L, Viral Marketing, out of San Diego, I think. And there's YouTube on building your database. Phenomenal. I watched it 7 years ago. When I left being coaching and recruiting, really, these guys, I had built a business on helping people with database. When I saw what they were doing, I changed my whole business because they're doing what you need to do. Now, you can do it for free if you follow these instructions. It's about an hour-long video, and they'll tell you exactly what to do. V-Y-R-A-L. Sabrina, put the link in the chat box. But you got to get your database where you have every name of every person you know, like, and trust, their phone number, their email address, their mailing address, and whether you're connected with them on whatever social media platform you use. And the ones that you have phone numbers or emails, you call them in the course of discussion, get their email. The ones that you have email, no phone number, you email them to get their phone number. All of them, you want to get their mailing address, because according and in alignment with whatever budget you have, you want to send them either personal notes or holiday cards when appropriate, or birthday cards when appropriate. Because if you're marketing to them and they know, like, and trust you, and you know, like, and trust them, nobody's going to break that apart. I just did a short video today on Redfin. Who here besides me heard about Redfin laying off their staff? Anybody notice that? Big news, right? I put a YouTube on that subject. But one of the things that was fascinating to me was that, see, they sell demand. They're selling not just actual houses. They're selling, if there's 10 times the buyers for each house, those extra buyers are leads, and they sell those leads to lenders and other people. That's part of how they make money. Same with Zillow, Compass, as well as laying off staff. That's a whole nother issue. But one of the things that Redfin said was their top agents, imagine this, have tight relationships with their clients. So when realtors would say, well, how do I compete with Redfin? What's Redfin doing? They're telling their agents, you need to compete with the average realtor. Or I should say the above average realtor, because the average realtor forgets their past clients and their sphere. The top agents all have their sphere locked down. I do my best to have my lockdown. I email every week. I put videos out. I try to connect on social media. I call them every 90 days. I send postcards. That is the fastest way. When you want to build a probate business, and now somebody's going to ask me, well, what does this have to do with probate? Because the fastest way to a probate business is marketing about probate and avoiding probate, i.e. Estate planning, to your database. I have on my YouTube channel, I do a video on that. How to market to your database by finding out who has an estate plan and what attorney they used and referring to them, who doesn't have an estate plan and referring them to the attorney that your clients are using. Or if you don't have one, you can use trustandwill.com is an inexpensive online service that does estate planning as well. Not as good as a great attorney, but better than nothing. Now, I'm not going to do the whole hour talk on that. You can welcome to ask you some questions. We can talk about it. But I want to say is that's the fastest way to build a probate business. That's what I did. I took Chad Corbett's coaching before he was Probate Mastery. He was at allleads.com. And I called my whole database. Now, I've been emailing them my entire career. And one of them was an attorney. I've told the story a million times. I don't want to, unless somebody asks me to tell the story. But basically, I called my client, who was an attorney, not a probate attorney, referred me to his client, who I sold 2 houses of hers within a 4 or 5 month period. One was a 6-unit, one was a duplex. Nice deals, fast money. Okay, so somebody's asked me about the link. It's trustandwill.com. Okay, so your database. If you want to build a probate business, the first place to start is with your database. Now, if you learn a little bit, and this goes back to being an expert, if you learn a little bit about estate planning, you know more than your clients. You share with your clients what you've learned, you're the expert. You learn about probate, you share that with your clients, you're the expert. The biggest problem realtors have and investors have with creating content, sharing content is, well, what do I talk about? You know, if you have a bikini body, I guess you can take pictures of yourself and all that cute and post it online. I don't have, maybe you guys will argue with me, but I don't have a bikini body. Anyone want to argue about that with me? No. But I can always talk about probate and post that on my social media. If you learn one thing a week, you can post that. You can video and talk about it. You can write a little bit about it, what you learn, email it out to your database. So all you have to do is learn a little bit. Hector, dude, if I ever get in shape, I will look as good as you, Hector, just FYI. But if you learn a little bit and share that with your database, you become the probate expert of your database. I'm Jewish, I belong to a synagogue. I go every Saturday. It's part of our religious practice and social practice. Every week, somebody tells me they get my emails and love them. I'm no magician. I've learned a little bit. I share it every week with the people that know me, like me, and trust me. They already know me, like me, and trust me. Again, the people who don't know me and don't see me, the ones who don't like me or trust me, they unsubscribed a long time ago. I don't worry about them anymore. When people unsubscribe, great. I'm glad to know he didn't like me. But the ones who know, like, and trust me, love, watch my videos. It's just an interesting mathematical principle. So Marshal asks us, build your database. And then number 4 is master an area of expertise. It could be probate. It could be avoiding probate. How do you do that? Well, I hope on my YouTube channel, I've interviewed some attorneys you might find helpful. And I'll give you guys a tip. My goal would be I'm looking to build a nationwide team of realtors. I'm not soliciting you, but part of that is also having attorneys nationwide network as well. If you don't feel comfortable interviewing an attorney, but you like me to, if you see my YouTube channel and say, wow, I'd love to do a three-way with Bill interviewing my favorite attorney, he does probate or estate planning, or just have him do it, I'm glad to do it. I'm looking for attorneys in every county and state. If they're outside of Southern California, that I have pretty well covered. Let me know. Reach out to me and I'll be more glad to contact them. And I've done that for several agents, or go to the probate group and put your requirements there. But understand you can call them and talk to them and do a video. If you're scared to do video, start with somebody who knows, likes, and trusts you already, and that you know, like, and trust. But by knowing a little bit of that information, you become the expert. Number 5, I'll tell you, I've been around a long time and I've seen a lot of snake oil salesmen. I've seen a lot of training that just seems like the trainer, they never did anything with their business, but now they're training or coaching. That's not me. I'm not selling you guys anything. I sell houses for a living and I build a team of real estate agents for a living. But in the last few years, the voice I've been listening to, I think rings most true for this time we're in, is Grant Cardone. And he's the author of the book, The 10X Principle. In fact, I wear this band, the 10X rule, to remind me that within my business, that's what I'm looking to do. I'm looking to 10X my business. And what does that mean? That means what it just struck me as obvious when I got the book. And again, I have a whole story behind how I met him. But what I'll tell you is it made sense to me that wherever you're at, if you want to do more, let's say you want to do 20 to 30% more, maybe you're making 100,000, but you need 130 to pay the bills. You're making 50, you need to make 65 to make everything work. He would say, well, whatever you're doing, you need to do 10 times that to get about 30% more even. Maybe you'll fall short. Instead of 10 times, to do 8 times, 7 times, 3 times, 2 times, 1.5 times. All is better than where you're at. But it's about realizing that to really increase significantly, it's about rethinking everything you do, not just a few little things. Now, I'll tell you that any business process is a lot of little things, but the focus and the goal should be on 10 times what you're at now. That would mean talking to 10 times the people, number one, and number two, talking to people in a 10 times more effective manner. Now, besides me, who thinks that sounds impossible? How are you going to talk to 10 times more people, 10 times more effectively? Does that sound impossible? It didn't me when I thought about it. But instead of saying, can I do that? The answer is no, because that little voice in my head always says no, wants to protect me. When you ask the question, what would I have to do to talk to 10 times more people and be 10 times more effective? That's where probate becomes possible. Because 2 things, my answer to that was, I had to use technology to leverage to talk to 10 times people. I mean, I'm speaking to you guys right now. There's 98 people on the call. Instead of talking to one at a time, I'm talking to 98. If you jump in and ask a question, you're talking to 98 people. Not to mention the recordings, and there'll be another 150, you'll see it after that, or more, 200, we add it all up. So one way to talk to 10 times is leveraging social media, but you have to have something to talk about. You have to be an expert in something to talk about. And 10 times more quality, to me, meant find an area that I become the expert in, I can share with people, so that when people talk to me, now not you as an audience on this call, but when a seller calls me now, or an attorney calls me now, if they've seen my YouTube channel, how do you think they are different in approaching me? Can you imagine that if you saw me as the LAProbate expert, you on my YouTube channel and saw I have about 900 subscribers now, and I have hours of interviews, might you, and if you saw 1 or 2, might you think I know more than the average realtor, at least when it comes to probate? Yes or no? Whereas Tom Ferry says yes or yes. And so the only way to talk to people more effectively, I thought, was talk to them before I talk to them. Give their attorney the tools to refer me more effectively, and or give them the experience of meeting me before they meet me would make me more effective. That's the power of social media. So by being a probate expert, I have now the content space to focus on being an expert that gives me the opportunity to speak to more people. And before people even speak to me, they've already seen me. You all have that same opportunity. And I'm glad to help you and share with you the steps, whether if you want me to do it as part of my team, great. I'm glad to share the steps with anybody. It's not really magic. It's a lot of detail and hard work. But I'm going to tell you that when you talk to 100 people once a week, and I have a couple other streams that I do as well, and other videos I do, I'm talking to hundreds and hundreds. Instead of 40 people a day, when I'm a cold call, my goal was to have 40 contacts a day. I believe today I average over 40 people times 10 for 100 people a day. And I believe that more of those conversations today are effective because I'm positioning myself as an expert, not just a cold caller. And I'm talking to people who are interested in my topic. There are people who go on the probate group and want to sell a house in Los Angeles. They're already interested in talking to me. And if you join, I'm inviting all of you. Herschel said he's in Southwest Georgia. If anybody called about somebody who literally asked about a referral in Georgia yesterday, I am the city, I didn't even recognize the name of it. Let me slow down here real quick since I have you here, just to give you an example of how real this is. And if you go in the group, you'll see that request. Somebody asked for a referral in a real part of Georgia. Where was it? Oh, here it is. Rebecca, Georgia. Herschel, do you know where Rebecca, Georgia is? You're muted. Let me see if you can unmute. Do you know where Rebecca, Georgia is? In Turners County. Does that ring a bell to you? No? Anyhow, somebody is in Turners County, Georgia. There's a realtor or investor wholesaler there.
Reseca, Georgia.
Is that in Turners County? Is there a county called Turners County?
There's a Reseca, Georgia that I'm familiar with.
Okay. Anyhow, my point, I'm sorry, I don't mean to call you out. I'm looking for something. Welcome to Turner County, Georgia. The county seat of Turner is Ashburn in Georgia. My point is, on that group, there's people every day who come in and have questions. Let's see, Ashburn looks like about an hour east of Albany. Sounds like not too far from where you're at compared to me. It's closer than me. But my point is, in that area, you could be the expert, right? Whatever area you're in. But you can't be unless we all know that's where you're from. And we know what that's about. So feel free to jump in the probate group and introduce yourself in your area, what county you're in, and what major cities are in your county, so that when somebody calls or on the probate group says, I'm looking for an agent or I'm looking for an attorney, what a nice phone call. Wouldn't that be a nice phone call for those you want to meet attorneys? You find a petitioner in, let's say, LA or San Francisco who has a property in a county that you service in Georgia or Kentucky or wherever you are, but they need an attorney there to file the probate. Wouldn't you like to make the phone call to an attorney that you know is probate? Hey, by the way, I have a friend out of San Francisco who's a realtor, Bill Gross, or LA, Bill Gross, and he has a client who needs a referral in our county. Do you handle probate administration? I know you do. I think it'd be great for you. So yeah, I know Georgia has a lot of small counties, so I don't mean to overstate what's there. My point is, let's know where you are. Let's work together. That's why I created this group. It might be a needle in a haystack, but if you got a couple a year, it'd be nice, right? For free. I'm not charging referral fees for those. So that's the 10X principle, which is talk to 10 times as many people as you are now. And here's the question to ask yourself. What would you have? I'll put the link in the chat box to the audiobook that's free on YouTube. Crazy. We live in amazing times. The right question to ask is, what would you have to do to talk to 10 times as many people as you do now? What would you have to do to talk to people in a manner that's 10 times more effective or productive than you do now? Ask that question and answer it, and you'll be building your business. And while most people are just going to sit around and be frustrated and disappointed and lament, gee, last year I sold 12 deals, and this year I've only got 1 or 2 in the pipeline now. Be the person who's built a whole business while they were asleep. And probate, I love to work with you if it's probate anywhere outside of my backyard. I'd love to help you build a business, scale it up, and let's just kill it together in probate. Okay. Wow, I rambled on for 35 minutes. I didn't know it'd go on that long. So let me look at the chat box. Anybody have any questions that want to raise your hand and I'll catch you. I'm going to try to go through the chat box and see. I see a lot of names and phone numbers, and I'm glad to see you guys do that. I'd love to have you participate. Let's see, chat box. Compass is letting people off as well. Yeah, I'll tell you that one thing that Redfin and Compass have in common, and I'm not here to talk bad. The people who are getting laid off aren't agents like me. They're staff people who have jobs and are going to perhaps struggle to find a job at the beginning of a recession, bad time to lose your job. But what's common is those companies weren't making money. They weren't profitable. And, I've been in real estate for, 36 years. I've had to make a profit every year just to eat and feed my wife. So welcome to the party, Compass and Redfin. Roll up your sleeves and work hard, and maybe you'll make it, maybe you won't. I don't know. But I can't say I'm sympathetic because they've been spending other people's money and competing with us for years. And this is the market where you have to make a profit. Good luck. Let's get down and compete on a fair trail. Judy asks, any free probate leads in Mojave County, Arizona? So what I will say is, I don't know about that, about free probate leads. What I would say, Judy, is if you're a realtor or investor, and what I would say is find a realtor investor in Mojave who's working probate and work as a team. I work in LA County and a few other local counties, and I give leads that I pay for to other investors, wholesalers, bird doggers, occasionally agents for free because we work together. So I would encourage you, Judy, here on this call, and then go into probate group, up to the probate expert group in Facebook, and put that question out there. But you're looking for a realtor investor, whichever one you're not, in Mojave County, Arizona. And what you're going to give them, see, you're asking for something, but you have to offer something, which is, if you give me the leads, I'll call them, I'll bring you back leads that I develop. For me, I work with investors who are looking to buy the property because if it has to go to probate, they have to bring it back to me. I also do probate advance work across the country, by the way. So I give people leads, and if you find somebody who needs money to pay for their attorney's fees, say $10,000, I have a company where we lend that money to them to help them get their attorney's fees. So I give people leads for free in exchange for that. So Judy, I would say, Tony Robbins always says, want a better outcome, ask a better question. And so rather than say, any free probate leads in Mojave, I would say, who's working Mojave County, Arizona in probate? I'd love to work with you. If you can provide the leads, I can provide you some referrals back. Hopefully that helps. Okay. Trust and Will, Sabrina asked the link. It's trustandwill.com. Trustandwill.com. I put that in the chat box. Gustavo asked for the link for that video. I'm not sure which video you're referring to, but I did put in the viral marketing video. If you have any questions, raise your hand. I'll just go through the rest. My database has every estate attorney, every probate attorney, every CPA, every clerk of court in it. Matt. Okay, well, Matt, that's great. But I guess I'm drawing a distinction. If you know every estate attorney, and you know every probate attorney, and you know every CPA, you know every clerk of the court, otherwise that's just data. The goal is those that you know and like and trust, and they know and like and trust you. That's where the money is. The ones that don't know and like and trust you yet, that's just data, and you're cold calling them. Nothing wrong with it, and there's strategies to make that work. But really, the goal is to take that data and turn it into a business. And the way to do that is by you reaching out to them and creating relationships. There's Lake Havasu City, Arizona. Judy, you're in Lake Havasu. Is that where Mojave County? And I think it is actually. I know so you're a realtor. So you're looking perhaps for an investor. You can buy leads in most counties across the country. Alltheleads.com is a high quality, a little more expensive lead source. I would say that Foreclosures Daily is another lead source that has coverage in almost every county in the country. The LAProbate. So on my website, on the far right column, I have probate resources, and I have a link for data. I've made a list of every data source that I've come across, and I'll put it in the chat box right now. On my website, LAProbateExpert.com, or you can click on the link I put there. But my website's LAProbateExpert.com. On the far right is probate resources. There's a page there for probate data sources. I put a list of every data source I found and a few comments about them. In some cases, I've recorded some videos about them as well. If you have a different experience with any of them, let me know. Reviews, positive or negative. Or if you find a new source, let me know. I've also attempted to interview every source directly. I've called them all. It's really interesting to me that I call them and say, for free, I'd like to interview you and put my YouTube channel. And maybe if it goes well, invite you on my show. And some have taken me up on it, i.e. they believe the product, and others don't, i.e. they don't believe the product, just what that's worth. Okay. And then Daryl is telling you that there's a contact in Mojave County. That's great. So you guys are working together. That sounds really exciting. I missed some back. I like that. Okay. The book I mentioned is The 10X Rule by Grant Cardone. The 10X Rule by Grant Cardone. 10X Rule. Uncle G. I go to his event once a year. He's fantastic and can't recommend him enough. I have to say, I found him a little gruff for a long time. I found it a little hard to digest his language a little bit. But over time, I've learned how to look through that and appreciate his amazing mindset and his amazing real estate investor, very successful as a real estate investor. Chris Aros, I see your hand up, and I just asked you to unmute. How can we help you?
Hi, Bill. Yeah, I'm a realtor in the San Fernando Valley, and I've been mailing out to probate leads. My challenge seems to be to actually speak to somebody. I call, but not too many people answer their phones, and I don't know how you feel about leaving text messages or voice messages.
Are you talking about cold calling?
Yeah, cold calling.
Yeah, I don't think there's anything wrong with cold calling. What I'm going to tell you is I think it's hard and getting harder every day. And so what I would say to you is that, well, let me back up a little bit. Can we have a conversation here about your business? Can you answer a few more personal questions?
Sure.
So about how many, you're a full-time agent, I know you are, right?
Right.
About how many transactions have you closed in the last 12 months?
About 15.
Okay. How many people in your database that you know, like, and trust you?
Probably about 300.
I was going to say 300. So that's right. That's probably the right number based on my experience. There's more probate for you in those 300 people than the cold call that you're chasing. You're just not effectively reaching out to those 300 people. You're a good agent. You know how to close deals. You're my competition here in Southern California. But you have more business, probate business specifically. There's more people who your 300 people either are heirs or need estate plans or have a family member who's an heir or have family members who need a estate plan. There's more there than all the cold calling you have combined.
I'm sorry. The calls that I'm making are to probate leads.
No, I understand that. Those are cold though. They're cold probate leads.
They are.
And nothing wrong with it. I'm not saying not to do it. What I'm saying, before I call a stranger, I would make sure in the last 90 days I've talked to the people who already know, like, and trust me that I know, like, and trust.
Okay, very good.
And I know you're resistant to it, and I get it. And I have this conversation every day with realtors. But if there's one thing, and I'm not getting paid for this, so I'm just going to tell you because I care. Chris, I appreciate your support. You've been coming on call for a while. I appreciate you. I want you to do well. And I'm telling you that if you just emailed everybody you already know how to avoid probate and refer your favorite estate planning attorney and did that every 90 days and called them all and said to them, hey, Joe, how you doing? Great. Chris Arrows calling to check in. He plans to buy so probably. Hey, I don't know if you saw the email I did, because most don't. But I'm curious, you guys have an estate plan? I've just learned how important it is. And I have a great attorney I'd love to introduce you to if you need a plan. Do a free consult for you. Something to that. That's a short version of an hour-long training. That will yield you more probate business in the next 90 days than any cold calling, emailing, texting, postcards combined.
Okay, very good. I'll do that. I'll concentrate on that.
Just know, I get it's hard. I get you're resistant to it. I'm gonna make fun of you. Gosh, I wish I could encourage you to do it. It worked for me. The first probate deals I did, my wife and I, there's a young girl, we knew her mother. The young girl is our daughter's age. And then years later, we went to a dinner where this young girl now is a young woman. And we had a social dinner with her at a friend's house. And one day I'm in court in a coat and tie and hanging out. I used to go to court every day. And she walked up to me. We had a conversation. Turns out she had a bunch of properties that she was the administrator on a contested probate. I made a lot of money off of that. I already knew her, trusted her, liked her, knew her. She liked me. Liked in the proper sense, not in the sexual sense. Right. It's by far the fastest business you're ever going to get. It's sitting there waiting for you to call them. All of you on the phone, all the realtors, trust me on this. Just try it. What do you have to lose? Just call me,
All
you
right.
know, like and trust, and give them some value related to avoiding probate or something you've learned. Okay.
Okay, very good. Thank you.
Sure. And I know I sound like a broken record. It's because it works. Okay. I'm looking for that video I have. My YouTube channel is Bill Gross EXP, and I can't find that particular video, of course, when I need it. So I'll keep looking for it. Robin McLean, I see your hand up. How can we help you? I'll just hit your unmute.
Just wanted to clear that. You said what we need to really do is send out to everyone we know how to avoid probate, just a letter. And then who did you say refer them to?
Okay. So first of all, I'm not necessarily saying it has to be a letter. I'm saying communicate with them. And the more ways you communicate, the better. So you can call them for free. You can email them if you have your email for free. You can post on your social media for free, and you can mail them something. The mailing, of course, costs some money. I only mail to people that I'm able to call and email and on my social media, because why spend money on strangers when I can spend money on people that I already know and already know me? What I would say is that your goal should be to have a list of attorneys that you could refer. Estate planning. I'm sorry, Robin, what state do you live in or sell real estate in? I should have got that before I let you go. I'm sorry. It doesn't really matter too much. Robin, you still there? Did we lose you? There you go. Robin, what state do you sell real estate? I just actually unmute. What state do you sell real estate in or do business in? Anyhow, it doesn't really matter. What I would say is in almost every single state, you can avoid probate or shorten the time period or save money or save aggravation by having a plan ahead of time rather than go to probate. Generally, probate is the state's plan. If you don't have a plan, the state has one for you. And in general,
I'm sorry, Georgia. I don't know what happened. Yes.
Okay, good. I know Georgia. I have a team member in Athens, so I know Georgia enough to know that you don't want to go to probate unless you have to. You want to have an estate plan, protect your assets. You want to have an estate plan so that the siblings don't fight over who gets how much, who gets what, or who's in charge of it. And so what you need to do is have a list of people who would answer this question. Who can I introduce them to that will help them write an appropriate estate plan? And I think of it as you need three. You need the low cost, kind of self-service style. Trustandwill.com is kind of like TurboTax for probate. So I'm sorry, for estate planning is the low price. The medium price and the high price would be, there are attorneys that do great complicated estate plans. They tend to be in bigger cities. No offense to rural Georgia or outlying areas, but generally more money is concentrated in the bigger cities. And my experience is people in the rural areas of Georgia go to Athens or probably Atlanta to find a law firm, or the law firm in Atlanta has a local firm they affiliate with. But with the video and such, there's going to be a high price for estates with multiple $1 million properties, businesses, multiple family members, blended families. And there's like a moderate middle for somebody who does more for, they own a house maybe or two and a standard family plan. In my market area, the trustandwill.com I think is $650 or $750. The medium plan might be $3,000 to $5,000, and a more complicated plan, you have divorces, kids from both marriages, maybe a business, a couple $1 million in properties. That could be $15,000, $20,000 or more, appropriately so, because you're going to save that estate. If they're worth $20 million, you're going to save them $2 million in fees and years of aggravation. And we've all heard about, court cases with famous people who were being fined in court because they didn't have an estate plan. So what you want to have is ideally all three levels covered, and maybe multiple, male, female, or, to the east and west of where you live or whatever, that you can then talk to your database and say, to avoid probate, to protect your assets, in case you have health problems, you also need to have these advanced directives. You should have an estate plan put together. And let me introduce you to an appropriate tool for you. Sabrina asked, do I have a list like that? I have a database of agents, of attorneys like that. And I'm always looking to add more. In my case, I have, Orange County, San Fernando Valley, West Los Angeles. I'm religious Jewish, male, female, high, medium, low. yeah, I want to make the most effective referral I can for that person, not just the attorney that's going to give me business. So anybody who needs a referral in Los Angeles County or even Southern California, I'd be glad to introduce. But when people ask me, well, who should I send it to? I always want to ask them questions. No, I don't give out the list because I like to do the referral. So I do interview attorneys and put them on my YouTube channel, and you can see them and meet them for yourself. But I don't give out a list as such because I don't, well, obviously, that's hard work. But I do interview all of them, anybody I would refer to. And the reason why I do it is I interview them. So when I make the referral, I would say, hey, Joe, the reason why I think so-and-so's perfect for you is they live near you, they work near you, whatever it is. And here's a video interview I did with them that might help you determine if they're a good fit for you or not. And there I am talking to them. And people who know, like, and trust me, see me talking to the attorney, kind of imagine having the same relationship. So I find the videos are a great tool for me to be effective in making referrals. I hope that helps, Sabrina. Okay. 51 after that. We've gone a little longer than I thought we would today. Was this helpful today, this topic? In the chat box, yes, no, maybe, not so much. Yes. Okay. Good. Okay. I'm okay if you say no. I mean, you won't hurt my feelings. I'm looking for feedback. I want this to be effective for you guys. Thumbs up. Thank you. I'd urge all of you on the video, on the Zoom, you can download the chat, and then there's a bunch of agents, names, phone numbers, emails. I didn't see attorneys in particular. We do get attorneys on here from time to time. We do get investors, wholesalers, and different marketers. If you haven't yet, put your information in the chat box, not for me, but for other people. If you're on the call, theoretically, you've registered, I already have your contact info. But again, this is for everybody else. If you want to get referrals, go here. And then again, just a pitch for some free resources. On Facebook, there's a group called Probate Experts that I manage. And for free, you can go in there and feel free to post whatever you want about probate. Now, what I don't want is posts about your mortgage lender or your local escrow and title. That's not really appropriate. I'm looking for probate experts. So if you're a realtor, feel free to pitch yourself there. If you're an attorney you want to promote, feel free to promote them there. If you have an event related to probate, feel free to promote it there. I love to be the repository of nationwide probate events done locally by agents and investors. There was an event today by a gal on my call from Tuesday. Unfortunately, I didn't have the link. I registered, they didn't send me the link in time. I would love to be the place where they put the link next time to get more attention. So feel free to go to the Probate Expert group in Facebook. And number two, on Tuesdays, probatemastery.com. They have a free Tuesday at noon Pacific, 3 p.m. Eastern, call like this, but it's, I would say, more elementary and helping people get started. And then we have some experienced people on there as well to help them. Normally on this call, we interview somebody. It's more content-based, but all of the calls here are recorded and put on YouTube and Facebook. So good. I see some people putting their information in. Great. Thank you. Love to see you guys refer business to each other. Love to see you guys make a lot of money. I'd love to also refer business to you if I can, and vice versa. I'm in Los Angeles, but I'm also building a team nationwide. So I have team members currently in Alameda County, Oakland, in Monterey County, where city of Monterey is, Athens, Georgia, West Palm Beach, Florida. So love to talk to you about that. If you have business down there, I'd love to help you as well. I'm going to be in Orlando next week. I'll be back here for this call. But if you're number one, if you're an EXP agent, I'm going to our shareholder summit next week in Orlando. If you're not, but you're in Orlando and you're a realtor or investor, wholesaler, let's get together. I'll buy you a drink. Give me a call, text, email me, let me know you're in town. Let's get to eat. I'm hoping to get some sort of a cocktail party hour thing together related to probate there, but I haven't worked the details out yet. Okay, Gustavo, last question. Scott Winfrey's 12 miles from Athens. That's great. Scott Winfrey, last question is yours. I'm going to unmute you. I find you. Wow, we got a big group today. This is fun. Scott, there you go. You're unmuted, Scott. How can I help you? Or is it in thing?
Oh, I was just letting you know, you mentioned Athens. I was just letting you know I'm right down the road from there. Just kind of to let you know where I'm at.
Nice. Oh, I'm sorry. It was Gustavo had the question.
Yeah, I know question.
Okay, very good. Well, thanks for sharing that. Where are you at, by the way? Okay. Gustavo, I just unmuted you. You have a question about cold calling. How can I help you?
Yeah, definitely. Thanks, Bill. Love the call. I'll be honest, wasn't sure where you were going at the beginning, talking about database and the market, and then they all came together. So thank you, appreciate it. That seems like a really good method. I run a cold calling team, and one of the sources that I think is underutilized, not really well understood, is probate. Actually, probate's one of the ones. It's a little bit more exotic. Not every agent is into it. They don't understand it. They don't get it.
Sure.
And I have a couple of clients that have really been killing it with no pun intended, with probates. I'm just looking to learn, looking for resources to understand the source a little bit more. You mentioned a lot about the database method. That's something I'm going to recommend all my clients do, by the way. I work with about 100 different teams in the US and Canada doing different kind of cold calling campaigns. So I'm going to tell them, hit your database first, right? I'm going to watch that video. I'm going to recommend people watch that. So love that. Number one, I'm a huge database guy. I was in real estate myself in Seattle, Washington for about 3 years, sold 100 homes. It was all database. It was all database. Cold calling for me came later, but I started database. But my question for you is, if you're approaching this from a cold calling perspective, do you have any tips, any recommendations, any training on that? What kind of a conversion rate? Anything you would say if there's someone doing it through the cold? It's not the easiest one. I agree. It's not the easy way. It is one of the most scalable ways, though.
Yeah, I think that all of real estate, as long as I've been real estate, agents would say to me, well, can I just hire someone to do the phone calls for me? And I would say that generally the answer is no. Generally, the problem is that when you work with I say generally, now I don't want to put down your business because I think there's a great opportunity there. Generally, no, because the people ask the question most often don't effectively communicate on the phone to close the deal. So Gustavo, they can hire you and your firm and get great leads booked where they can talk on the phone, but they can't convert that to a contract because you're not good on the phone.
Exactly.
And I'm sure that some level
it works if it adds leverage to an existing pipeline. I agree with you 100%. I'm with you on this.
As we say in AA, it works if you work it.
If you
right?
exactly. If you hire a caller to be less time on the phone, you're probably doing it wrong. You're going to be more time but with higher level leads. That's it. That's the only advantage, but it's more time on the phone.
So I'd say that definitely it obviously can be done. You're doing it with certain people. And I'm sure the common trait, my experience coaching realtors for most of the last 20 years or so, is the ones who have ISAs, that have success with them, have services, success with them, did it themselves. Then they can help define the process for the ISA or be involved in the training. They have to do it all, but they can at least oversee it, interact it. And they know that you have to track your numbers. None of this matters if you don't track your numbers. If the numbers are changing, you got to pay attention and make the changes. So, so I would love to talk to you offline, maybe find out more about what you do. And I'm sure I know people who'd be appropriate for you to talk to, and maybe something you and I can work on together as well. So
definitely. And I love I have a Facebook group as well, about 4,500 people. I'd love to have you in there, Bill. So anyways, we'll connect offline. You seem to have some you got the goods. So I'm always looking to talk to practitioners. So love it.
And I'm a practitioner. I'm not selling anything for all you on the call. I'm not selling anything. Probate Mastery, I think, is a great coaching. If you're going to invest in yourself, and I think one of the things, thank you, Gustavo, I'm going to let you go. One of the things that Uncle G, Grant Cardone, says all the time is the number one place to invest money is you. In your business, you're the most valuable asset. And so you want to spend money to train you to be more effective, whether it be learning how to be effective on the phones. There's cold call training. Mike Furry does a real good job of that, or what to say and how to say it. Probate Mastery is more of the what to say, not the how to part. They're not training cold calling, but they're going to train you the content and the come from, which is also important. So that's why I'm involved with Probate Mastery. I do some coaching for them, really more just to be involved in the company and the program. I just really believe in what they're doing. It would help out, but it's not even a rounding error of my commission, I would say, or my income on a monthly basis. Okay, we're going to wrap up. Gustavo, thank you. Herschel, thanks for participating. Scott and Gustavo and everybody who asked questions today, thank you so much. Shout out to the University of Georgia Athens Bulldogs. And funny, the guy that I know, my partner who's in Athens, he went to Central Florida. So I'm not even a Bulldogs fan. I have a chance to really work with somebody who's a Bulldogs fan, but he's not. I'm so disappointed. Go Dogs. Yeah, I'll agree with you on that one. Hey, this is Probate Weekly. We do it every Thursday, 4:00 p.m. Pacific, 7 p.m. Eastern. Hopefully we have fun. I have fun doing this. I had fun having you guys here today. We live stream it on YouTube and Facebook. And we also record it there, put it on our YouTube channel. My YouTube channel is youtube.com/BillGrossEXP. They're all recorded there with other content for probate focused real estate agents, investors, and wholesalers. Free resources again. Last shout out for that. On Facebook, we have a probate group. Probate Experts is a group we have for free. Go in there. Feel free to put in your contact info. Promote any probate related content you have, but please make sure it's probate related only. Love to have you participate there. I also host the live stream call on Tuesdays for Probate Mastery, noon Pacific, 3 p.m. Eastern. Go to probatemastery.com for all their programs and content, and you can connect with me there. Thank you so much, everybody, for being on the call today. Next week, I'll be in Orlando for the XP convention, but we'll do this call live, normally remotely.